And we are pleased to have college football analyst Carter Bryant with us on set tonight to help us break down really everything in this wild weekend of college football. We're far from finished, from Wisconsin, but we got to talk about this right now. What do you think about this game?
Wait, do we have to talk about this?
Yeah.
Did we just watch what just happened?
Yeah.
Did we just watch Wisconsin outgain LSU by 80 yards?
Yeah.
Did we just watch Brandon Harris throw off his back leg?
Yeah.
I mean, this was not a ballet, twirling around, throwing interceptions. I mean, that was one of the more despicable performances we've ever seen in LSU history. 0 points in the first half. You and I scored as much as LSU did in the first half. It was that brutal.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, this whole year, Alex, oh my goodness. Brandon Harris. He's got George Whitfield, the quarterback coach, attacking him with the broomstick. This is an unbelievable turn of events for LSU. The offense is going to be great. Cam Cameron's going to come back new and improved like his Joe Flacco days.
Yeah.
But that was not the case today with LSU going down.
Definitely not. And, I mean, we all know, especially here in the Arklatex, we root for Harris. I mean, he's a great
Absolutely.
kid, but you look at these plays here, you look at that first quarter, what do you say? I mean, what's the excuse? I just don't – there's really nothing. It looks like the same team we saw last year.
Yeah, there is no excuse. This is his third year. He was highly touted. Tom Luganbill and all the big ESPN and ABC announcers loved him coming out of high school. He just hasn't developed to where he needs to be an SEC quarterback. And right now, this is not a national championship winning team that we saw. You got the big-time receivers. You got Malachi Dupree. You got Traven Durrell, who played decently, but the football's not coming out on time, and the LSU offense is really static.
Yeah, well, we're going to get back to that. We're going to try to get Les Miles live at the podium when he does get up there. Should be an interesting press conference, to say the least. But we're going to move on. Carter, we look at this matchup. It's first game of the year, but this kind of had a playoff feel to it. You got to feel like, whichever team came out of this game, that the winner was going to really have a shot here at the college football playoff.
I still think Oklahoma's got a good chance. The Big 12 is still really tough this year. And one thing I like about Oklahoma's schedule, they challenge themselves every year in the non-conference. They'll have Ohio State coming in a few weeks to challenge them in Norman, and that's going to be a tough game. But this game, got to give Ward Jr., the quarterback, he's going to be a Heisman candidate. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in New York. And Tom Herman has proven himself as one of the best coaches in college football. This is his second straight win over an AP top 10 team. They defeated Florida State last year, and the Cougars on the prowl. Normally in Houston, there's a different kind of cougar running around.
Oh, look at
that. Yeah, I'm telling you, on their third marriage, in their mid-40s. That's what you normally see. But these Cougars are just as vicious. They are wonderful. Yeah. This is a team from top to bottom. And the one thing I love about this Houston Cougar team, Duke Catalan, their backup running back, who you saw score that wide-open touchdown. This guy's a bruiser. They're going to need him to stay healthy. He nicked up in that game a little bit. Their backups for Houston aren't that great. I know their schedule is a little bit weak, and they're a non-Power 5 team. But, folks, you saw a big-time tackle football team come out as an 11-point underdog. I know they were in Houston. I know it was an 11 a.m. kickoff. But, goodness gracious, this is going to be a great football team this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're going to – so, Carter – Tech, with a strong start, they come out with an interception. Jamar Smith played great as a redshirt freshman. How heartbreaking of a defeat is this for the Bulldogs?
It's really bad considering on that fourth down play where Arkansas ran the play that just never gets stopped. The misdirection to their best offensive player this year, tight end Jeremy Sprinkle. They let him decide the game. That was 4th and goal from the 5-yard line. And guess what? Louisiana Tech had the perfect defense set up to make the play, but the linebacker there for Tech, big number 45, they barely missed out on making the play. You make that play, you win it. As you see right here, backside zone coverage, it was there, and he just misjudged the flight of the football. You knock that down, you probably win the football game. Arkansas was starting a lot of new guys. You're talking about Jared Cornelius, a part of that wide receiver group. It's actually an experienced Arkansas team on the outside, but on the offensive line and that quarterback with Austin Allen, relatively inexperienced. This is big from Louisiana Tech. Yeah. They lost 8 starters on defense this year, Alex. And they also lost, of course, a person from my neck of the woods, South Arkansas, Kenneth Dixon, who's all-world. You also lose Jeff Driscoll. This was a great start, considering Jamar Smith wasn't even slated to be the starter this year. Yeah. So give Louisiana Tech a lot of credit for coming out and playing pretty tough.
And I gotta wonder, like you said, it's an impressive game for the Bulldogs. It's a heartbreaker, it certainly is. But when you look at everything they lost, I mean, you got to consider the Conference USA watched this game today and thought, if they wrote them off, then they don't want to do that anymore. So certainly, looking forward to seeing what they can do for the rest of the year.
The Bulldogs were 26.5-point underdogs
exactly.
going into this game. So pretty impressive stuff. And the one thing I really liked about Louisiana Tech, you see, you and I, we're not big guys. We're like Louisiana Tech. They were undersized in the trenches.
Yeah.
You know what they did? They stayed hard at the line of scrimmage. They rotated a lot more guys defensively than I thought. And guess what? They played physical with the Brett Bielema football team. Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
That's kind of like trying to steal a donut from Brett Bielema. It's that hard. That's how physical they were. And that was a great effort today for Skip Holtz. And something that was really special, his dad standing on the sideline.
Absolutely,
for
that was
so,
awesome.
So
Yeah.
seeing him going up against a former team, that's really cool stuff.
Shout out to Jared Kraft, had a good game. Very subdued Les Miles there. You got to imagine he and his players are just hurting right now.
Yeah, and they were flat. They deserved to lose. I mean, think about it. Their only 2 scores of the game came within 67 seconds of each other. And that was thanks to, of course, the Glen Oaks superstar, Mr. Tre'Davious White. What a game from him today. I know he had the replay snafu there in the second half, but had the pick 6. He styled on in there. That was a beautiful thing. But when you look back at this, what do we know LSU for? Smash mouth football, controlling the clock. As a matter of fact, LSU and Arkansas led the SEC in time of possession last year. Check this out, Alex, the most startling statistic of this game. 37 minutes to 23 minutes time of possession. Wisconsin had the ball, folks, for 14 more minutes. You know what that means? That means you're winning the battle in the trenches. That means that LSU's big boys are getting whipped up. And there was a big point in this game. One shoestring tackle made by the Wisconsin linebacker was a backup. He came in. It was Ethan Posick, the All-American center, who missed that block. And it was Leonard Fournette, the All-American running back, who went down on the first hit. You just don't expect that from Leonard Fournette and Ethan Posick. So all game long, LSU just wasn't making the plays, and ultimately, Brandon Harris was Brandon Harris.
Well, you know, Wisconsin certainly owed them one from two. So what do you see here? You know, you got 2 traditional powerhouses, but obviously Bama with the much more recent history. What do you see happening?
Well, unfortunately for Alabama, this game will be played in an air-conditioned AT&T Stadium. But you know, there's 2 players to look out for. For USC, Adoree Jackson, they're all-world, all-American, punt returner, defensive back. You'll see him on offense tonight. And, of course, Alabama, the big question, who are they going to throw out there at quarterback? There's a Louisiana native you need to keep an eye out for Alabama. It's not Cam Robinson. It's not Hootie Jones. It's their pass rusher, Tim Williams, big number 56. I think he ends up being the best pro out of anyone in the SEC outside of Fournette and Myles Garrett of A&M.
Certainly interesting. Something we will keep an eye on tonight. But right now, another timeout. We'll be right back. Now, he was talking about defense there, but I got to ask, you know, you have Jamar Smith come in, redshirt freshman, obviously a guy they like. You know, they put him in that starting spot with the Higgins being in trouble. Considering the performance he had, the way the team played, the way the team rallied around him, do you think this maybe creates a quarterback controversy for the Bulldogs?
Yeah, everyone was around Higgins. It seems like he got the locker room.
Yeah.
Up to a point. But I got to go with Smith, man. This guy played unbelievable in a tough environment. I've been to the Hill for many a games.
Yeah.
I went up there, and the crowd noise is crazy. The way the stadium is set up is unreal. Quarterbacks have told me that in the past. I stick with Smith under center. The guy was incredible. You got a dual threat guy who seemed to command the offense, didn't let that crowd noise get to him. And Arkansas's defensive line was actually pretty good in this game. So you got to give Smith a lot of credit.
Yeah.
I would give him the start and not going forward.
All right, well. All right, Carter, winding things down here on our special.
Oh, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I know. We're having so much fun. But there's going to be a lot more fun coming up after us, Alabama and USC. We've talked about that, but I guess plenty of things really happening so far today. What's maybe one of the things that's really stood out to you?
Well, you look at LSU, and you look, and that's the big story. They go down in Wisconsin. What's crazy? People that are at home, knocking out that 5th bottle of Jack. Stop right now. Because guess what? LSU can still win out and go to the college football playoff. Arkansas is going to eventually be a top 25 team. Texas A&M will be there next week. Obviously, LSU is going to play Alabama. If you win out, you're going to the college football playoff. This wasn't a conference game, and the committee will give LSU a little leeway. You were in Cheesehead country. There were a bunch of people cheering very loud, "Go Badgers, go!" in that northern accent, and you had all that going on. But LSU still has a great opportunity. They still have a top 5 roster in the country.
Of course. I mean, best player in the country for sure.
And they can win it all. They could still do it. As bad as they look today, they can still win it all.
I guess the discouraging thing for me would be, it just looked like the same LSU team. And when you look at the game, the way it went down, it was almost exactly like 2014, except they didn't win it. But that's going to do it for us here on the Labor Day Tailgate Weekend Special. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again tonight at 10. For Carter Bryant, I'm Alex Anderson. Good night.